Welcome to another episode of Crime Pays of Botany Does It. We're here in central southern Chile at about 36 degrees latitude south. You can see I'm looking at a beautiful vista. You know, we're not in the Atacama, we're not up north, we're down here. It's basically, it parallels, the west coast of North America. You got Baja, the dry desert down south, and you got California, which is more of a Mediterranean climate, and you go further north of the Pacific Northwest, and it's a temperate rainforest. And that's kind of what South America's doing on the west coast of South America down here. So we're going to take a look around, see what, take an inventory of the species we see. Lots of members of Asteraceae, lots of members of Laurales, the somewhat basal angiosperm order that avocados are in, and bay trees, and lots of Nothofagus species, which are the southern oaks. Also, we've got this guy, Lithrea caustica, which is a member of the Anacardiaceae, the poison ivy family, which I believe has urushiol on it. You don't want to touch that. Look at that beautiful venation on that, though. Trees are dioecious. You can see those male flowers. Anyway, let's go take a look. Have a little gander, do a little sashaying with the shit up the mountain, and see what the fuck we can find. Here we go. Check out this white vine. This is a species of Proustia, Asteraceae sunflower family, but the Myrtaceae subfamily, which is so common down here in South America. And there you go. There's those little, those capitula, those flower heads. You can see those tiny white flowers, 5 lobes. On is that the disc florets have 5 lobes? Yeah, check that out. See the flower head on the left has actually 5 lobes to it, and then you get those bilabiate white corollas on the side. The pappy are red. Those are the little dandelion hairs that help disperse the seeds, just like you'd see in a dandelion. Interesting though. And then of course the leaves are covered in hairs, because though it is getting wetter as we proceed further south. We're about 4 hours south of Santiago right now. As it is getting wetter and more mesic, it still can be very dry in the summer. So you're gonna benefit and be able to grow more places if you could tolerate a little bit of aridity. That's where those tiny hairs come in. Proustia, big genus down here. And right here we got a member of Laurales, a somewhat early branching, almost basal angiosperm order, Laurales. Same order as avocado. This is Peumus boldus. This is in the family Monimiaceae. And you can see it's also got those hairs. The fruit is edible, and the leaves can reportedly be used for a tea for your estomago. If you got an upset stomach or something. I guess they actually sell it in stores, and it's been marketed. So they've actually, stripped some of they've kind of negatively impacted some of the native forests by repeatedly ripping the leaves off. At least they leave the trees. Yeah, look at all those hairs on there. Jesus. Whoa, that fruit is sweet. And it's got a little bit of those essential oils, those volatile compounds that like the flavor of like sassafras or bay, which are also in the same order, which, a lot of those basal angiosperms and Laurales have that. So not quite basal, we're not talking about like Amberella, but still early branching, an earlier branching lineage. Here's a nice one. Look at this. This is a buckthorn, Rhamnaces, the family Redinea ephedra. There's the fruits, pretty large for a member of the buckthorn family. You can see it's got photosynthetic stems, stiff spiny branches, like so many buckthorns do, and no leaves in its mature form. And of course we have invasive radiata pine, which is responsible for the shit lumber everywhere. It's most of your shit lumber that's building those tract houses in some of America's bleakest new suburban communities in Florida and Texas and suburban Phoenix are made of radiata pine. It's invasive everywhere I've been. Only native to a small area of California, but planted in pine plantations throughout the world. South America, New Zealand, Australia, etc. Lithrea caustica. Old inflorescences, they look like it's all male. I don't see any female flowers. Is it dioecious? I don't know. We'll have to see. But there's a massive Redinea. Look at that thing. 20 feet across, 15 feet tall. Massive old bastard. Beautiful. Lots of cicadas. Listen to those cicadas up there. Oh, it's a beautiful sound. It sounds like an electrical short. Oh, this is a nice one. This is a member of Proteaceae, that weird Southern Hemisphere lineage of plants with beautiful flowers and kind of plastic feeling leaves. This is referred to as the Chilean hazelnut. This is Gevuina, is the genus. There's the inflorescences right there. produces edible fruit. Did you know macadamia nuts are Proteaceae? They're in the same tribe as this. See, there's those flowers. 4 tepals and a pollen presenter. That's all any Proteaceae flower is. 4 tepals and a pollen presenter. Just make sure, like on the genus Protea, you're not confusing a huge inflorescence with an actual individual flower. Those Protea flowers, Proteas native to South Africa, are actually composed of hundreds of tiny flowers. That's nice. Yeah, there. Okay, so this is kind of cool. That's 2 flowers right next to each other. 2 flowers, each with 4 tepals, and then that green bending thing is the pollen presenter, which presents pollen that comes off the anthers. The anthers are fused to those recurved white tepals, and then later becomes a female receptive. You know, it gets pollen on it, and then so they're protandrous. You know, of course, like all Proteaceae. Proteaceae have some very cool flowers. 4 valvate tepals, a pollen presenter. They present pollen, and then they become receptive to pollen. This is a pioneer species too. It's one of the first to recolonize. See, these are all just flowers that haven't opened yet. It's the first to recolonize areas that have been disturbed or bulldozed. One of the first natives. So it's kind of like a rooterel. Right here's Nothofagus glauca. Let's get a nice money shot of those leaves. You could see the bud scales and a bunch of tiny hairs as well, giving it a scabbard texture. Yeah, look at that. Look at those tiny hairs on it. There's like 9 Nothofagus species. Look, the bark looks kind of like a pine, at least on glauca. Beautiful close-up of the bark right there. Yeah, the cicadas are going nuts. Man, it feels and smells so much like California. It's that dry air, the temperature, everything. God, that's beautiful. Look at that. Here's the Nothofagus glauca. So similar in form to an oak, which they're somewhat related. They're like a Southern Hemisphere oak. 50 million years removed from Quercus. Nothofagus glauca. Supposedly the bark can withstand fire. You'll see him a little charred, so McGill tells me. Got a massive stand of Proustia, the native bamboo genus, back there, along with, there was a Diplolepis, oh yeah, Apocinaceae, little milk vine, right there. No flowers on it though. Native member of the willow family, the genus Asara, which has quite a few species in South America. And you got the 2 kinds of leaves right there, the big ones and then the tiny ones. And you got a puya just lurking at the forest right there on the edge of the shade. And then a beautiful Nothofagus. A beautiful southern beech. The structure on that thing. It's like a natural coppicing. There you go, there's more Asara, a willow, a member of Philesiaceae, which is in Malpighiales, the order. It's got berries and it's got 2 different kinds of leaves. As you can see, it's got the small leaves that are sessile, and then it's got the big ones that have a petiole. Well, I guess the small ones have a petiole too. Fabiana imbricata, a nightshade that looks like a juniper. It's just convergent evolution adapting to dry summers. You can see the flowers are withered. Tubular flowers. It's the big giveaway for nightshade family. 5 fused petals fused into a little tube. Wow, that's a leaf variation in the Peumus boldus. The ones in full sun have cupped leaves. They've all got that scabbard texture though. The leaves smell good. I'm going to try some of the tea tonight. And the leaves are opposite, which is the big giveaway. They kind of, you know, just like sassafras, they've got that kind of pungent volatiles in them. Again, that's a trademark of many members of Laurales. But look at those hairs. That right there is the big. They look like little punctate hairs. Yeah, the leaves in full sun would be like half this size and cupped. Just the same way that like California coast live oaks do. You know, when they get in like a full sun environment, they're cupped and they get those revolute margins on them. But here, this grown in the shade, this is a lot bigger of a leaf. Invasive Acacia deobata. What a drag. It's also very invasive in California too. You can see there's the seeds all over the ground right there. Native to Australia. Why the hell would you plant that? Was there Cryptocaria relatives growing on Antarctica back when the whole Gondwana thing was going on? I bet so. This is Cryptocaria alba. Alba because it's got that very bright glaucous almost white underside. And the big giveaway for this for me is looking at the leaves they're opposite-ish. They can also be slightly off, you know, so slightly alternate. But the big giveaway for me is that kind of waxy, somewhat inflated petiole base. Glabrous and inflated. Beautiful tree that also produces edible fruit. Tiny flowers. Another member of Lapageria, the somewhat basal angiosperm family. Lapageria family, order Laurales. Man, it's so much like California. We got some nice lichen diversity. This is Lithrea. This is Cryptocaria here. Is that right? Yeah. Without fruits, it could be kind of tricky, but really digging the boulders set up here. Look at that beautiful new growth on the Lithrea, the native member of the sumac family. This is kind of cool evidence of those bird migration patterns up and down the west coast of North to South America. This is Colomia biflora Monimiaceae. You get Colomia grandiflora in California. Lots of members of the phlox family in California. You get a ribes species right there. The gooseberries, the currants, which you get a bunch in California as well too. It's called an amphitropical distribution. When you've got a family or a genus that occurs on same latitude on either side of the equator. Here's a berberis. I keep hoping we'll see one in flower, but you can see the resemblance to agarita, which we get in Texas, and some of the other berberis that you get in the deserts of North America. Very spiny leaves. Except these don't. What's going on here, huh? Not so spiny right there. Wonder what's going on with that. It feels kind of like plastic and has very stiff little teeth, little spines on the margins. We got an Alstroemeria. Asteraceae, Alstroemeria pressliana. Some of those are really overused in floral bouquets, but it's a beautiful genus. Bomaria is in the same family. Chusquea, nice little colony of Chusquea, the native bamboo. Got a nice downfall at Chusquea. We got Bomaria past season, same family as that Alstroemeria. Beautiful flowers on them. You get Bomaria edulis in Mexico. This is Bomaria salsea, and there's the fruits. You can see the flowers are done, fruits are maturing. It's a little dry capsule. And then this right here, the national flower of Chile, Lapageria, which my friend Martin was obsessed with and grew profusely from seed. Edible flowers, edible fruits. But they might send your ass to the can if you, or at least write you a fine if you do that. If they catch you doing it, I don't know. But they grow very slowly. It's a vine. Order is Liliales. Philesiaceae is the family. Philesiaceae is another genus. It's pretty incredible that you get occurring in South America. And they just crawl up the vine. We saw one blooming. They were kind of past their prime, but there's still a couple stragglers. This is Nothofagus alpina. That's a beautiful leaf right there. I saw Nothofagus cotinandra in New Caledonia had somewhat similar leaves, but they were much more coriaceous and stiff, much harder. And this is a climbing hydrangea, which is going up that Nothofagus. Yeah, the Nothofagus bark looks like pine. Holy hell. Look at that. It's a massive vine. Well, we got a little seep here, and here's that climbing hydrangea. You could see opposite leaves. Flip it over, and look at that venation. You got that kind of white glabrous wax on there as well. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm gonna have to take a picture of that. It's a very gorgeous money shot right there. And then up here we got Drimys winteri from Winteraceae. It's very pungent, volatile, rich leaves, just like the sassafras and what is it, Atherosperma in Tasmania. All those large growing trees. Yeah, there's that climbing hydrangea again. You get, or is that I can't tell. Is that you got opposite leaves or is that a Lapageria? Yeah, that's that hydrangea. Ah! Oh yeah. There's that Drimys winteri. It smells kind of peppery. Very glabrous leaves, large leaves. Definitely something, if you saw a fossil of it, it'd give you a good indication of what the climate was like. Wet and somewhat cool. There's a species of Blechnum. Nice fern, very coriaceous, stiff leaves. Blechnum magellanicum. There's the new growth. Look at the circinate vernation. Touch my circinate vernation. And here's the fruits of Drimys winteri. You can see they're maturing to a red. Man, I bet these are extra pungent. Oh yeah. Used as a spice reportedly, which makes sense. You can see they've got the, oh yeah, look at the texture on those. Look at those bracts as well. Nothofagus alpina. Look how small the leaves are since it's in direct sun. The shade leaves we saw back there in the under the canopy were a lot bigger. And then Nothofagus obliqua over here. Almost looking like a birch. Small leaves, undulate margins. These have been decimated by insects, but God, look at that bark. Southern Hemisphere beeches, Southern Hemisphere oaks. Hey, you can see we've raised above. We've come up above to this little landing. We're supposedly want to build some damn canal. We got horrible invasive Himalayan blackberries. Absolutely terrible plant. They're edible, but they will shred into your flesh and they smother an ecosystem. And we're looking at this incredible forest full of Nothofagus and all those members of Laurales, as well as a few Austrocedrus chilensis, the Cordilleran cypress down there. Let's keep going. It just feels like, man, it feels like the Sierra foothills. Okay, here's an infamous plant that's gained notoriety for its ability its supposed ability, I mean, I've seen photos, I believe it, to mimic plants next to it. This is Bocchila trifoliolata. Is it the family? I always mess the name up, but it's the family. Lapageria, Lizard, I don't know what this shit. Lapageria. Anyway, Lardizaceae. I don't know how to shit. That's one of the most brutal family names to pronounce. But anyway, you can see it's got 3 leaves and it's got stiff little hairs on that petiole. And you got kind of a revolute margin there. And again, that kind of white underside. And it's growing here. It's growing on a, what is this, Lomatia? Yeah, Lomatia. Is this Proteaceae? Yeah. It's growing with this invasive raspberry. Really nightmare. I'm sure there's other cases where you'll see it. And it's, I mean, I've seen photos where it actually does mimic. Again, no one knows how it does that. It has actually been studied. There's quite a few papers on this. I've seen a few cases where it actually does mimic plants next to it, like it gets a dentate leaf margin, or it's, I mean, kind of, you know, shit that makes you almost, you know, believe it a little bit, you know, and be a little bit wooed by it. I can see what it's doing there, but it's an interesting plant nonetheless. But it's been, you know, the case study for, quote, sentience or awareness in plants, which I don't know if I buy that. I wish I'd love to. I mean, people believe a lot crazier shit, but either way, can you hear me? Can you hear what I'm saying? Don't take any offense to this. Listen, I think you look great. All right, I love you. I'd grow you a home if I could, if I lived in the right climate, and as long as I knew you weren't invasive. But I don't know if you're actually, you know what's going on. Do you know what's going on? You know, Lardy Zabala, he was a good man. You know, I loved his bodega, but then it turned out he was, you know, doing a whole cash for food stamps thing, and he ended up getting caught up in a big swindle by that, you know. Got fined, did 6 months in prison, then they ran him out of town. You know, that town really got gentrified later on. Anyway, that whole neighborhood, real shithole now. A lot of glitzy people, a lot of Gucci's. Anyway, here's Luma apiculata, Myrtaceae, edible fruit. I've grown that from seed that I did not steal from San Francisco Botanic Garden and Arboretum, which I don't feel bad admitting to now because it's really declined in quality. It's like the Home Depot garden section in there. I used to have a whole bunch of rare plants, and they really decimated the nursery. Anyway, Myrtaceae, again, is the family. Lots of edible fruits. Guava family. They look like little blueberries. That bark is incredible. Okay, the fruits look like little blueberries, and that bark is incredible. You can see it looks like, we saw a large one yesterday. It looked like a damn madrone. Really distinct texture, and it's got those volatile oils in the leaves. They have got a smell to them, you know, kind of just like eucalyptus. I mean, it doesn't smell like eucalyptus, but eucalyptus is also Myrtaceae and has those volatile oils. So you see similar traits, of course, in the same family. Really a wonderful tree, though. It's cool to finally see it in habitat, too, after already familiarizing myself with it. Listen to those cicadas. Don't do the cash for food stamps thing, at least unless you're sure you can get away with it. What a fucking look! What an asshole! It's all that brutal rubus, that blackberry. Why? Why would you bring that over? You dumbass! What did you think was gonna happen? God. Oh, oh, Jesus! It hurts just looking at it. Oh, that's industrious. You can see a branch just fell off the Nothofagus. Now we're in this wet, boggy area. They put it to good use, split it up, made logs, and created a little gravel path. Here's another Erythranthe, which is another genus that we get in North America. That whole amphitropical distribution thing. Jesus, look at the trichomes on that. The glands. The monkey flowers, Phymaceae. Nothofagus or mycorrhizal. And look at this duff. God, I'd love to see the fungal diversity here in the winter. Holy shit, can you imagine? During a rainy season? So much cool stuff here, I bet. So many cool mushrooms popping up. Gevuina avellana. Chilean hazelnut. Edible member of Proteaceae in the macadamia tribe. Incredible forest, man. Just listen to those birds. Oh, that's good medicine right there. Don't want to hear my loud, obnoxious ass talking right now. Should be mandatory for every politician and CEO to be forced to live in a spot like this on gruel for a month and also dose them. And also give us half of everything you own. Just put it in a collective pot and we'll put it towards healthcare and education. Fucking Stroons. This is what's being erased to build some of the absolute dumbest shit. I'm sorry, I gotta take it there. You can't get too rosy. Okay, let's look at this Dasyphilum, cool member of the Barnidiozoid subfamily of Asteraceae. It's in the sunflower family. Note that it's got spines. Look at that. Dasyphilum is cool. I saw a couple shrub members in Brazil. They've got a very distinct morphology. I mean, they're one of those plants. You can see how they're in the sunflower family when you look at the flowers. You know, they got that compound flower, that capitulum. But everything else about them doesn't look anything like any of the members of Asteraceae, the daisy family that you get in North America. Barnidiozoid does this too. It's got multiple stems. See, reportedly it can turn into a medium-sized tree. But you can see the habitat it grows in. Kind of shady understory of forest. There's quite a few here. I don't know if these are all just stump sprouts sprouting from the same individual or what. Those birds are really making my day right now. I'd like to thank them. I'll express some gratitude to you guys. Thank you. Nothofagus dombeyi. They get twice as big reportedly in the south. The loggers were hot and horny for this. They fucking took almost everything. There's the leaves. But massive trees and probably just intense scaffolding for mycorrhizal fungi. You can see the leaves are what, almost 3 centimeters? So small leaves. Massive root system. Look at that bark. Look at this Lapageria, man. Look at that. Look at that. That's where it goes, way over there. There's this sprawling vine. God, what a cool flower. What a gorgeous flower. I grew these from seed once that Martin gave me, but it wasn't the right. My dirty backyard in Oakland with all the diesel exhaust and fucking lack of plant cover from surrounding yards, it wasn't the right climate. It wasn't cool and wet enough for it. We get the nice little river down there in a Resine. We got Legrandia concinna right here, which is an endangered Myrtaceae. Oh, it's got a square stem. Square stem with a nice, look at those scales on it, those red scales. Wonderful leaves, opposite leaves. It's right there. It doesn't seem to be getting too tall. Very rare, narrow endemic. And then over here we got Lomatia hirsuta. No, dentata, excuse me, Lomatia dentata. You can see there you got the typical Proteaceous flower, 4 valvate tepals with anthers adnate, that is fused to a different structure, just fused to the tepals, and a little pollen presenter. And then the flowers, when they're in bud before they open, just look like a little inflated bulb. You got tiny hairs on everything. This is a tree to about 6 meters tall. Here's Proustia linguae, genus of avocado, but check it out how when it's in the shade, the leaves don't do this. When it's in the sun, you get that curl over effect. Sclerophyll, all right, hardened leaves with you get a little indument of tiny hairs on the underside. But a true genus of avocado, which produces an avocado-like fruit that I don't know if it's edible. I think it might be toxic. I think it's toxic. But you got a nice vestigiate form right there with that tree. Yes. It's, yeah, Miguel just did confirm it is toxic. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try to put it in your ass. I'm just saying. At least a little seed or something, you know? There we go. Look, there's Boquila again. Look, there's our friend Boquila. You sensitive, wonderful being, you. I don't, you know, are you mimicking the Legrandia that you're on? This endangered Myrtaceae thing? I don't know. What's the adaptive benefit of mimicking other plants? I don't know. Maybe it's just maybe it's just the form of respect and gratitude. I don't know. Cool plant. This is again Lardy Zabala. You know, once I came up with the Lardy Zabala thing, it made it easier to say the family name. Did you know Lardy Zabala? You know, you got banned from the Regal cinemas. You know, it was a big ordeal, actually, for selling scalp tickets. He was selling counterfeit scalp tickets, and then he was going around to the back and letting people in through the back door, through the emergency exit, for $5 a pop, which does beat $11. It's a blechnum. Blech. It kind of gets a stem. It gets like semi-coalescent. There's the sporophyll, the spore-producing leaf. And then here's a sterile vegetative leaf. Look at that. Oh my God, look at that beautiful white wax on the underside of that leaf. Holy shit, that's nice. Look, it's oxalis, but they're native here. Oxalis rosea and Oxalis dumatorum. And you can see they've both still have those scales in the leaves. This genus can be really invasive, or it has members that can be really invasive, but it's always cool to see a native. They probably have gotten around the globe multiple times via bird dispersal. Look at this guy. Look at this with the dentate leaf margin and more sclerophyll. Glabrous. I'm getting bit by mosquitoes. First time. This is Desfontania fulgens in the family Culomeliaceae, order Bruniales, which is sister to Escaloniales, and then on the other side of Escaloniales, the order, on a phylogeny, we're talking cladograms here, is Asteraceae. So that kind of gives you an idea of what this is related to. But I have never even heard of that family until today. Do we get any Northern Hemisphere members? I don't think so. Either way, you can tell this is probably going for Hummer pollination, and there are those anthers. Are they poricidal or what? No, they don't look poricidal. No, not at all. But something's definitely got to get in there. Oh yeah, those are big juicy anthers, man. Holy hell. But glabrous and just forming this multi-stem. Well, I suppose it's a small tree. It's just draping over this cliff above the river along with the blechnum. Look at that. Memoirs of riverbeds past. Oh, look at it. You got some invasive pine up there. Oh, that's brutal to see. No native pines in the Southern Hemisphere, except for one species in Indonesia. This is a landslide that happened. Just after 3 or 4 days of rain, everything just came crashing down. Oh man, look how steep that is. You could thank that Nazca plate for all the steep slopes in South America, at least on the Andes side. You got that subduction plate going beneath the continent and lifting everything up, as well as creating all the volcanism. This is a nice spot to dip your ass in. I think I'm going to do that. Baccharis, of course. So many Baccharis. That's an algae. I wonder if there's a shit bloom or something up there. This is a nice one over here. Check this out. Eucryphia glutinosa. Glabrous leaves. Looks kind of oily, almost resinous. And then multiple stamens. Looks almost like a dogwood. But it's got these big bracts that subtend the flowers. You can see looking like little cups. Really interesting. Almost looks like Nothofagus leaves. Little brown anthers. It's a very rare tree. It's got a narrow range. One of Chile's more endangered plants. Beautiful though. They gotta be planting this out. This has gotta be a native. It's crazy. I mean, when I was in Santiago, I just saw, I mean, you see the same horticultural garbage planted all over the world. The same shit. It's like, depending on what the climate can take, if it's tropical or Mediterranean or temperate, the same horticultural garbage, big box store garbage, but every place has such incredible plant life in it. It always blows my mind. I mean, just the modern civilizational approach to plants is so deranged, just so disconnected from reality. Like, why would you be planting bougainvilleas, you know, 5,000 miles away from where they're native? Or boxwoods, or Italian cypress, or any of that shit. Ugh, makes me want to puke. See, there's fruits that opened, dried dehiscent fruits. There's fruits that will open. You can see the stamens withered at the base, and then there's a flower that just finished up, and the ovary is maturing. But this is, I remember seeing Eucryphia, what was it, Tasmania or New Zealand? There was definitely Eucryphia on Antarctica. Back when the whole Gondwanan thing was going on, you know, back when all those continents were together. So the tectonic breakup is the reason for their distribution in South America and in Australasia. God, look at how that fruit breaks up too. That's beautiful. That dry fruit. Cunoniaceae, man. You don't get many in the Northern Hemisphere unless they're planted as horticultural atrocities in places like Florida. But what a beautiful tree. You got Chescea, the native bamboo back there. Looks like you got, what is that? It looks like an orchid dying back to the roots for the season. Man, that fruit is something else though. Look at how that opens. Ah, beautiful, beautiful geometry. Woo, must have been nasty when it came down. Look at this thing. Looks like a holly. It's a savagely spiny, coriaceous Sclerophyll holly look-alike. I wonder what the hell this is. No flowers or fruits, but it's again glabrous, and it's got that kind of bright underside with the beautiful venation. The spines unfortunately can't protect it against whatever leaf mining insect is just digging in there and excavating the hell out of those leaves. It's got a cool phyllotaxy leaf morphology though. See, we're just sitting here looking at the Chescea, and you know, Miguel was just telling me how many Spaniards' heads were put on these by the Mapuche back in the day, you know, and then paraded through a village or something. Very good strong wood. You can imagine how that would work like that. Wonderful genus. Nothofagus glauca. So it's like a spanakopita. It's like a nice cake. Get that baked crust. Beautiful bark on that thing. There's those leaves. God, there's so much Nothofagus diversity. We have to study up. And this guy, Mikel tells us, is Citronella mucronata, which apparently engages in heteroblasty. It's got young and old leaves. So armed leaves when they're young, and then not so armed when on the adult trees when they're out of the reach of herbivores. But I don't see any large ones here, so where the hell did these come from, I wonder? This looks like a holly. Right here, look at this, looking like a red nicotiana, the genus Salpiglossus, obviously going for Hummer pollination. God, look how glandular that is though. Nightshade family Solanaceae. Look at those beautiful striations on the sepals. And then that tube flower, that funnel form flower, and there's those anthers and that green stigma in there. Dissected leaves. Of course, we got invasive St. John's wort. It's medicinal. Yeah. It's not too out of control. Oh, you got mullein, of course. I kind of hate that one. Be cool to see it in Europe. I hate seeing it everywhere else where it's invasive as hell. Really invasive in California. One of the carduous species, invasive thistles, but a very beautiful ecosystem otherwise. I don't see too many invasives. Be a nice spot, man, to wash your ass, lurk for a day, come out, have a little picnic, hang out, you know. Smoke a doob if you're into that thing. Yeah, Eucryphia. Look at that, looking like a eucalyptus. Same family, Legrandia concinna. They get big. The one I showed you before was just a 6-foot tall shrub, 2-meter tall shrub. Look at the bark on this one though. It's about, I don't know, 10 inches diameter breast height. That's a beautiful tree. Look at the rippling on a Gevuina. Oh my, it's kind of beautiful, but it does look like some sort of like rhinoceros ass vibe going on. It's gorgeous though. I'm gonna take a picture of it and try and draw that later. It's very gordito erotic. There is a nice synapomorphy for the avocado family. Loraceae is those valvate anthers. See that? See how those anthers have those little appendages that come up? So it opens like a little valve, and that's how the pollen comes out. Look at the 3 petals on this guy. That's curious. And of course, those scales. Those little orange scale-like trichomes. That's the flower of Proustia linguae, which is this tree right here. A toxic avocado. Where'd it go? Oh no, it's in the back. Excuse me. Right there. There you go. There you go. There's Luma apiculata, that Myrtaceae thing with the orange bark that looks like a madrone in flower. Edible fruit, volatile compounds in those leaves. Oh, look at that little point on the leaves too. See how they curl over like that? Sclerophyll. Bosque de Sclerophyll. And many stamens, and then the styles in the center. Myrtaceae, eucalyptus family, guava family. Thing is beautiful and it smells good too. Nice up close, Aquilaja saponaria. One of the most common trees in Chile. There's a little beetle. What's he doing? Going on that? Is there a nectar disc inside there? Kind of curious. Look at those stamens too. I wonder if this is a dioecious or monoecious plant, because I feel like I've seen flowers that matured into fruits but didn't have any stamens. Really cool flower morphology regardless. Order is Fabales. The order of peas, you can see you got 5 petals, and then are those sepals that are alternating with the petals, or what? It would seem so. Or those little things are the petals, and then the sepals are those broader appendages, and then you got, I guess it's that green thing is a little nectar disc. Beautiful plant. I think there's only 2 species in the whole family. There's a species in Brazil as well. There you go, Lomatia hirsuta, Proteaceae. The fruit is a woody capsule. And I got those sclerophyll leaves that kind of feel like plastic. There's the fruit maturing right there. Missed it flowering, but that's okay. Those leaves are nice enough. Look at that beautiful glaucous color. Holy hell. I never met a Proteaceae that I didn't like. Another Gondwanan affiliate. What are the extinct members of this family that grew on Antarctica before it froze over and dried out? So many of the magnoliids, you know, the basal angiosperm lineage, in this case Drimys winteri, Winteraceae, are apocarpous. They have carpels that are not fused. Okay, many other angiosperms, the quote higher angiosperms, you look at the fruit, it can consist of many carpels fused into a single fruit. Not the case here. This was a single flower, and you've got distinct carpels, not fused into a single ovary, a single fruit. Great illustration of it right there. Some didn't even, you know, some of these flowers only had, it's like the rest aborted except for just one on this individual. Of course, those leaves smell. So does, oh man, so does that. It's got a peppery smell to it.